So hello guys, welcome back to another episode of this podcast. Myself is Abhishek Ganguly, and with me today there, as you can see, there's a lot of people, and it gives me a great pleasure and great pride as well to say that we have accumulated, all have taken out their precious time this day to talk about something which the society in general don't like as such to talk about. They have stereotypes regarding this thing. A lot of them have different kind of stereotypes regarding this thing. Um, they have various misconceptions actually, and yes, you guessed right that we are going to talk about suicide and its prevention, as because on 10th of September 2020 we are observing this International Suicide Day. So, and our school, St. Arnold's, has given me this beautiful opportunity to meet with new people and learn from them. So today I am not exactly your co-host. In lieu, you can say that I am a disciple sitting here, who is very enthusiastic to learn new things and also to spread the words and awareness of this um very murderous topic that we are going to say, and very depressing topic. So I would like everyone to introduce myself, starting with Nandita ma'am.
Hi, I am Nandita Seshadri. I am a psychotherapist working in Mumbai. I have been working with adults, and I have been doing training workshops with adolescents. And I recently did my training in suicide prevention, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today.
Yes ma'am, thank you ma'am. Then next, moving on to the one and only who helped me to arrange this podcast, the lubricant if I may, Miss Monalisa Kujur ma'am. Please introduce to our audience.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm really pleased to have you all here. And I am Monalisa Kujur, working as a school guidance counselor in St. Arnold School. It's been 2 years that I've been working here with amazing children and also amazing staff. And today I thought that since it's a day we are observing International Suicide Prevention Day, it's important that we talk about this topic, which is rarely touched upon and is also a sort of taboo to talk about. There are a lot of myths related to it, and we every year we lose so many lives because of this. To in order to prevent this from happening, we I thought that it's important that we talk with the youth and also with the experts. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I also am thankful to Abhishek to arrange everything. And so thank you so much, Nandita and Jaspreet ma'am, for joining us, taking out your valuable and precious time, and all my three dear children who are also going to share their thoughts, opinions, and help us to learn and grow through this process. Thank you.
Thank you ma'am, thank you. And ma'am, then moving on to Jaspreet ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself and introduce.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Jaspreet Kaur, and I'm a PGT psychology teacher, and I'm working in St. Arnold since 1.5 years. So, it's a privilege and honor for me that I have got this platform to reflect myself on the topic suicide, and it's a very crucial topic which we are talking about. And nowadays, we hear about it a lot. All of us are going through tough times, so I hope that this session, when we are going to, this is going to be streamed, and then when children see this, of course they'll get to know something positive from that. So
Yes.
with that perspective, I thank Abhishek first of all that you have created this platform for us to come and reflect ourselves. I thank Monalisa ma'am that she gave me the opportunity to be here, and all my dear students. So it's nice being a part of this podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And then we have three students, my juniors, Preetu, Manya, and Satvik. You guys, please introduce yourself in short, starting with Preetu. Preetu, please unmute yourself and say a little about yourself to the audience.
Hello everyone, my name is Preetu Hershi. I am 15-year-old and I'm a student of St. Arnold School, and I'm very delighted to be a part of this podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on to Manya.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Manya Khatri. I'm a grade 11 humanities student, and I'm honored to be here with all of you so we can all share our opinions and help the others in need. Thank you.
And finally, Satvik.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Satvik Das, and I'm a 10th grader. And firstly, I would like to thank Monalisa ma'am for giving me this opportunity to talk about something so serious, yet people don't talk about it. And I hope that this podcast would help people to find their hope. Thank you.
So, as we proceed with this conversation on suicide prevention, we first need to understand that what this thing suicide is, and as I did a little research yesterday, that what is the major reason of it. It turns out that 90% of suicide, whether that be in children or that be in adults, it is caused by depression, as they stated. And now depression is something that it was earlier, it was known to people, I would say not before the 21st century, not before the 21st century the term got very famous, because before that it was something people used to neglect, and people even used to not believe that something such any kind of disease, mental disease such as depression even exist. But then, as the time grew, as we faced globalization and westernization, as people's perspective on things became broader, we saw various things growing, and with that positive aspect that has came into India very recently, that people are now talking about depression, there came a negative aspect, which is people don't exactly know what is depression. I have seen my friends, it is a very personal thing I am sharing with you all. If like it is a adolescent period that we are going through, we are going to be adult this year, but still this period, it's for me it's an adolescent period, and I'll term it the same. It'll also be very relatable with the 3 juniors I am having with me today, and they will term everything depression. Test में marks कम आए, I am going through depression. Crush का reply नहीं आया, I am going through depression. So ma'am, Nandita ma'am, Monalisa ma'am, would you please like to aware the children who are watching this video, and maybe even adults, that what exactly depression is, what exactly the term depression means? Would you put?
Yeah, I would like Nandita to take up that question and like make the children aware in very layman terms what exactly is depression.
So the common misconception is that depression is feeling sad or having a low mood. But all of us have ups and downs. All of us have low moods for many of the reasons that you did mention. And depression is beyond just a low mood. It is the main thing about depression is that there is no connection with others. You're feeling like it's not just feeling low, but maybe you're feeling a little numb. You may not be feeling a lot of the emotions that you used to feel earlier. You may not feel hopeful. You may not feel like you're looking forward to something. You may feel like there is no meaning right now. And the most important thing is this is a prevailing feeling. It's not just something that is triggered by one particular event and then goes away in about a day or 2 days. This is something that stays for a certain period of time. So if it's something that stays beyond 2 weeks, then it is something that you need to definitely speak to others about and seek help about. And depression is something that is definitely treatable. So you seeking help, talking to others about it can help you to manage your emotions much more effectively. I'd like Monalisa to add whatever she'd like to.
Yeah. So that's a very general idea that we have, that if we are sad or feeling lonely or are losing interest, that happens to us sometime or the other, but that doesn't mean that we are exactly in depression. As Nandita said, that it's a clinical term which needs to be diagnosed and has a specific period. You know, those symptoms are there for a specific period of time, and it's a long period of time of no interest, of not having any appetite, or of having sleeplessness. So these symptoms are prevailing for a longer period of time, and there is no improvement at all in the mood. Then there is a possibility that it might be depression. And mental mental health needs to be taken care of in that situation, and it's important that the person reaches out for professional help in this area. So let's not use the word depression for a very, for every small ups and downs that we have in our mood. Depression is much more than that, and it's much more grave.
So with this, I would like to come to the student part, like, uh, and I would specifically like to ask this question to Manya. Around you, do you think that depression is a wide-spoken topic? Are your friends, or where you live, there do people talk about this thing? And I am asking this before the case of this, before the suicide case or murder case, whatever it is, of Sushant Singh Rajput, because after that, there was a sudden hype in the way people started talking about depression, and like it is just like the trend up and down in market. So I am talking before the pre that suicide scenario.
To be very honest, my family and friends are like really open-minded. So I often talk about it with my friends, and they too share their opinions about it. A lot of my friends and uh, family members, they're very concerned about mental health. So we often end up having a lot of discussions. Uh, I remember we had a teacher, Shalini ma'am, back in 2019. And I remember that I'm still in touch with her. So we often talk about how mental health is a very concerning issue. And I think now, with, say, after Sushant Singh Rajput expired, I think everyone started talking about it. But initially, if I think about it, not everyone around us was very concerned about mental health. And not a lot of people used to talk about it, which was rather concerning in my opinion.
Suicide as a thing, we see it. I feel that everyone once or twice in his or her life come across some suicidal thoughts. They at some point of time, they kind of feel so low, where they feel if their existence was not there, then all the problems around them would have been solved. And this is very personal to me, because I have felt it once or twice, and many of my friends, they have felt it, and they have told me, like, I was getting this kind of feeling, ki everything is around me is happening just because of me, I guess. And if I am removing myself from the scenario, then it is all well and good. So it's quite indescribable to not have those kind of thought. But what is it that that pushes the person hard, that makes the person take or execute a step relating to suicide? Like many think about it, but some even does it. So is there anything that is that is compelling them to do it?
Yeah, so Abhishek, the question that you asked, that many people think about it, but only some people do it. Okay, so the first underlying factor that we need to put our sights and focus on is that the suicidal thoughts, if it comes in an individual, it's not because of only one factor. Okay, if anyone thinks of committing suicide, then there are a lot many forces which try to push that individual. It's not at all a negative, it's not at all a positive feeling, it's a negative feeling, it's a negative thought, and the execution is negative. So when people are unable to cope up with their circumstances, they when they are unable to achieve what they do or what they want to achieve in life. They are unable to do things according to their point of view. Okay, so when they are unable to fulfill those things, it's upon them that how they need to control it, how they need to buck up, and then how they need to motivate themselves and move on, because life is all about moving on and adjusting oneself to the surroundings and to the situation in which they are. So when they are unable to do that, that's only the point when they take this wrong step. So yes, the thoughts, the negative thoughts, there are n number of thoughts that come into an individual, and no one has a limit or they cannot stop it. But yes, it depends upon that individual, the factors which are forcing them to do so. Okay, maybe there are certain negative forces which are adding on to that. There are circumstances and situations which is adding on to that feeling, because initially if the thought of suicide has come into the mind of any individual, that individual is not going to go and perform it very then, because everyone, if even if you have a cut on your hand or somewhere else, it pains, and pain, it's not at all positive. Okay, so anyone, if they experience pain, it gives them that feeling, and that's not pleasant. So no one is going to give themselves pain by committing suicides, and there are different ways of committing suicide. So a person will think upon it, someone has to plan it, someone has to be, you say that the person was mentally weak and that's the reason of committing suicide. But if the person is mentally weak, then how is it possible that they are so strong enough to harm themselves? Going and committing a suicide, it's not a small thing. We just take it as a small thing, but there are lot many things involved in that. Like there is action, the person is thinking upon it, the person is planning it, and then the person is executing it and then causing harm to oneself. So everyone has that thought in that, but there are very many factors that add on to that thought. Okay, all the factors, if you have people around you who are positive, they motivate you, they guide you, then those thoughts, the negative ones, can be actually somewhere or the other transformed, and they can be the positive ones. Okay, if you have people who can constantly guide you around you, or if situations start changing, then you may feel motivated that yes, I was wrong at this point and situations are changing, so I was wrong, I shouldn't think like that. But if they are going on negative and it's not according to what you have imagined, what you have planned, then of course it will lead that individual to do that. So that's the difference. When any person, as you said, that many people have that thought, okay, once or twice in a lifetime it comes, but not everyone does it. Some people, they do it. It's because there are many factors which force them to do that all at once, their circumstances, their social life, their family life, their economic life, and there are many more factors which we cannot even think about, which lead that individual, that pressurize that particular individual to do so. Otherwise, it's very tough for an individual who is mentally weak to commit something like this. Okay, it needs some sort of, kind of boldness. Like we are bold enough to speak when something is wrong. So similarly, you need to be bold enough if you want to, kind of do a act like this, which is really very painful. So according to me, there are many factors which, make an individual do so. It's not only one particular factor. So right guidance is needed at the correct time. Otherwise, of course, children and people of any age group, if they don't find the correct motivation, if they're not guided, they'll do it.
Nandita, so I wanted you to, shed light on, sometime in our life, we come across someone who is going through suicidal ideation. Sometimes we even know someone who dies by suicide. So as a mental health professional, I wanted you to shed light on how to go about it and how to approach this scenario.
Yes. So when it is someone whom we are close to, or even if it is someone who we have interacted with and we feel like there's something off with the person, the best thing to do, so there is an approach called QPR, which is the easiest approach for us to use. QPR means question, persuade, and refer. Question is the first step. So wherein we speak to this person and ask them about how they are actually feeling, rather than making an assumption that this person must be suicidal. We might feel that, but we still need to check about how this person is doing. So the first step is asking the question. And there are two ways of asking the question. We can take a direct approach, or we can take an indirect approach. So asking the question in a direct approach means we ask them, do you feel like ending your life, or are you thinking about suicide? So this is where we are directly coming to the topic and saying exactly what it is that we are thinking. If we have a good rapport with this person, maybe this approach would help. If, however, you feel like you're not sure of whether this is an approach you're comfortable with, then we can use an indirect approach where we ask, have you been unhappy lately? Or uh, have you started to lose interest in the things that you enjoyed doing? Do you feel like giving up on your life at times? So these are also questions that are giving us a clue about how this person is feeling. It is not as direct as us finding out whether this person is contemplating ending their life or not. But certain tips that can help in asking the question is, if you're in doubt, do not wait. Just approach them and have a conversation. And make sure that you talk to them in a private setting, not in front of other people, because this is something that they might be conscious about. Give them the space to talk freely rather than trying to complete their sentences. Let's not make any assumptions when we are talking to them. Allow them to speak. And the most important thing to remember is how not to ask this question, which is not making a judgment, such as we should not be saying, you're not thinking of killing yourself, are you? Or suicide is a dumb idea. You're not thinking about suicide, right? Now that comes with a little judgment. So when the person is, if you say that, then the person is likely to feel like there is a correct answer for this, which means that they may not be able to talk as freely. So once we have asked this question, then we move on to the next step, which is persuade. How do you persuade someone to stay alive? Now, ideally, we do not want this person to die by suicide. So to persuade them to stay alive, we need to offer them some hope. And that hope can be in any form. Rather than judging them, the first thing we need to do is listen to their problem and with our complete attention. And to persuade them, the most important thing that we need to give them hope about is that, yes, things are really difficult for them right now, but maybe things may not need to be this difficult for a long period of time. Maybe things can get better. And one way for things to get better would be if they were to get help from someone else. So to ask them to do that, we can say, will you go with me to get help? Or will you let me help you to get help? Or will you help me? Will you come with me to a professional or to someone else? And this is the part where we come to the third part of this, which is to refer them. And referring them is a very important aspect, because we are not everyone here is a trained professional who can give the kind of help that the person needs. And that is where we need to make sure that after we have had this conversation, the person gets the help that they require. And that will be from a mental health professional. So very often someone who is contemplating suicide believe that they cannot be helped. So the most for us to do, ideally, to take them directly to someone who can help. Take them to a mental health professional. If we cannot do that, then the second thing we can do is to get a commitment from this person that, yes, I will seek help. I will speak to a professional. And then help them to make that arrangement to get that help. And if we are not able to get that commitment, then the third best thing we can do is to give them the contact of a mental health professional or a few mental health professionals, so that they can take that decision when they feel ready. And to again get that commitment from them that I will not harm myself before I have spoken to this person. So question, the first is to ask the question of finding out whether this person is contemplating suicide or not. The second is to persuade them to get help and to offer them that hope. And the third is to refer them to someone who can help them, ideally a mental health professional. And the most important thing here is that just by asking the question, you are not going to put the idea in someone's head about contemplating suicide. It's not that if I ask someone, are you contemplating taking your life? That does not mean that it is now going to be planted in their heads and now they are going to think about it. No. Either the person was thinking about it or they weren't. We cannot cause that kind of harm by asking the question. Yeah. Would you like to add to that?
No, that was like really, enriching and well said, Nandita, that, there are certain myths attached to the whole concept of asking someone whether they are thinking of hurting themselves or ever that thought crossed their mind. So many a times, believing this myth, we stop ourselves from giving that helping hand. So it's very important to understand that these are myths, and it's not true that if we ask someone that whether any self-harming thoughts are there in their mind or have been thinking about it is going to cause them harm. So this is a myth and it should be addressed. So thank you, Nandita, for this wonderful sharing of your knowledge and experience on the same. I would like to ask now our students, since you all are going through a lot of changes in this current time of pandemic, and life has shifted basically for all of you. So like I wanted to know, like uh, were there times where you felt low, and have you seen any of your friends feeling low, and what do you do basically to uplift yourself and get out of that negative space and be in a safe space? So what are your methods of uplifting yourself whenever you feel low? So we can start with Manya, and then Satvik, and then Preetu can go ahead. Yes, Manya.
Ma'am, in this pandemic, let's face it, it's pretty depressing for all of us because we're all stuck in our homes. Uh, every day when we switch on the news channel, we get so many like depressing things, and it's difficult for us. Like most of us over here, we're like social butterflies. So if they ever felt low, they could step out and refresh their mood, but now they can't do that. So it's pretty obvious that most of us here are actually going through a tough phase. So I personally am also pretty much affected by it because it's not easy to handle a lot of bad news. Like every day you wake up and you see so many people getting affected by it. So many people who are underprivileged and cannot, get access their daily needs and things, and it's difficult. And most of my friends over here, like recently, a few months back, my friend's friend committed suicide, and it was a tough time for all of us because she had been going through a lot of stuff recently. So immediately, if you like get to know that someone's no more in your life, it's difficult. It's very difficult to cope up with it. And and in these times especially, you cannot exactly go to others for help because somehow you start feeling that if they're already going through a lot of stuff, so if I seek help, I'll probably bother them, which is stopping a lot of us these days. So what I do is I usually try to talk out with my friends. I try to listen to whatever I can. If they ask for advice, I'm not very sure if I'm good enough, but I'm trying my best. I can be a safe space for my friends, at least for my family members, for all the people that I know. And for me, I'm glad that my family and friends do the same. They always listen to me. I think communication in such tough times, it always helps. Talking to people you trust, talking to people who understand you, it's very, very useful. And yes, it helps.
Thank you, Manya. for helping us understand that communication is the key here, and sharing and listening. Communication is about sharing and listening. It's a two-way process. So that's the way to create a safe space for ourselves and also for others around us. So thank you so much for sharing. Can I ask Satvik as well to share his perspective on the same?
Yeah, like to me, at least I have felt a lot of times. I am not specifically suicidal, but I felt low, like really low. Like I have thought about suicide a lot often, especially during this period, because it's like uh, our lives have been changed. Like in some or the other way, it's just changed, and it's pretty tough when you are a teenager and you have your boards on your head, and then you have to go through a pandemic. It's pretty tough, and at least what I do is I don't specifically talk about it, but I vent my feelings and my thoughts down on a paper. I write about it, and I just write about it, and uh, I just write out my negative thoughts, and I just crumble that paper and just throw away. I mean, it kind of sounds silly, I guess, but it helps. It helps that it's like throwing away a negative part of yours, not completely, but partially. At least it helps for the time being. And I'm pretty grateful that I have friends around me who are always there to support me. I have my family members who don't judge me for who I am and for my thoughts, and which is pretty rare. And I'm pretty grateful for all of it. And that's what I do. I just write down my feelings, and if things go out of control, I talk to my friends. Like I don't have a lot of friends. I just talk to like a few people, and they just help me the best possible they can, because not everyone is a professional. Like even I will say I'm not a professional at all. I'm just a student who thinks that he's been through a lot, but I mean, who am I to judge anyway? So I just try my best to not do anything which will hurt my friends or my family or the people around me in any possible way, especially physically or mentally or emotionally. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Satvik, for sharing your perspective on the same. And I'm so happy to know that even though we are going through, low times and there are ups and downs every now and then, you are taking your baby steps, I would say, to protect yourself and by reaching out. That is something which is to go out and reach out and seek help. That is really like important. Now I would like to ask Preetu to shed light on her perspective on the same.
Right. First of all, I'm very annoyingly optimistic, and I usually smile a lot, and I like having good things because I feel I'm very lucky enough. But at times when we feel a low, as if something is not going right, or uh, things are getting out of control, I still try to make it right. I listen to music, and I write letters to myself. That is, at times I just make myself believe that I'm a time traveler, and I write a letter to myself as if it was. I'm a time traveler, and it's like I write letters to myself saying things will be all right, and there are more better things to that I haven't yet achieved, and to keep going because the universe has a lot of good things to throw at me, rather than being so low about certain things which won't even matter in my future. So I just make my mood up there, and I have many friends, supportive friends. I like talking to them, and I like listening music or planting flowers. It gives a very positive atmosphere. It creates a very positive atmosphere, and it's nice. So yeah, that's how I make it work.
Thank you, Preetu, for adding humor to our, this discussion by saying annoyingly positive. So I think that's another, key to have humor in life. Because, when things are so difficult around us, if we add a bit of humor in it, we start to get that, like, you put smile on everyone, of like every one of our faces, just by saying the word annoyingly positive. So just see the impact of humor in our life. So whenever there is difficulty, it's important that we also start seeing things in a humorous manner, so that we can create that safe space and positive environment for us as well as for others around us. So that's very important. I want Jaspreet ma'am to shed light on this topic, that you are a working professional now, and also you have been working with children, and there are moments where even you might be feeling low. So how do you cope up with it, and what are the suggestions you would like to give to our audience who are going to watch this video?
Okay, so Monalisa ma'am, thank you for this question. Yeah, there are times when I feel low. There are times when work pressure somewhere or the other, it sort of hampers the health as well. So when I feel that things are not working, okay, when I'm trying to do something, even while I'm making videos and I'm tired. So because of fatigue also, things don't happen properly. For the time being, I take a break. I pamper myself for 5 to 10 minutes. I reward myself with something that I like. It may be some good food which I like to eat, as I'm a foodie, or I listen to music, or I just chill out. I watch a video or something, and if even that doesn't help, I go and have a one-to-one talk with my mom or my dad, whoever is available, because I'm really very free to them. And when I face any certain like when I feel that there is a conflict in me, I'm unable to make out things, or how should I move about it, I like talking to my parents rather than talking to anyone else. So they are the first option who come to my mind. So I generally go to them, though I am not a student now. I am you may say I'm not adolescent or something, but my parents are the first person who come to my mind, and that will be every time there, because I believe that they have a lot of experience, and they are mature enough that they can guide me, not with everything, but they can at least help me to figure out that what is the next step that I should take. Okay. And when it comes to workload, yes, there are times when I face workload. So these are the alternatives that I use. I try to motivate myself. I try to relax a bit. I try to give some time and attention to my own mental health as well. That yeah, if I'm working late nights, then the next day I try to find out some time for me so that I sleep, because sleep is the best thing. It heals the body as well as the mind, so I do that. And when I come to children, yes, during these tough times, children as well as parents, they'll be having a lot of anxiety. Every day they are there are three subjects that they study every day, and the next day then again they have three subjects. They have to watch videos, they need to complete the assignments, they need to complete the notes, everything. And I won't say that the children who are in standard 6 or 7 or 8, they won't be facing anxiety, and the ones in the higher section would be facing anxiety, and they'll be tensed. Why I say so? Because the children in standard 6 and 7, their age is also low. Okay, they are comparatively less mature than the ones in standard 10, 11. So for them, that task is also really very difficult. So as a teacher, I always try that when I start the day, I wish them, I talk to them, I ask them that, like, if I meet them the next week, as I get 2 classes. So when I meet them the next week, the first question I ask is, how was your last week? Then second question is, how are you all? Did you watch the videos? Could you manage time to do that? If not, why you did not do that? So I want an answer. Okay. And I always tell them that be honest to me. Feel free that you can share things with your teacher, because if you don't tell me things, then I won't be able to help you out. So I always try that I'm available for them, to listen to them, to find out alternatives in which if they are unable to complete their task on time, no problem. You couldn't complete it this week. Time is not like the time is not over. Okay, the due date is over, but still you have time in your hand. Okay, you might get minus marking for that because you have submitted late. Teachers won't consider, but it's fine. You at least have completed the task. the phone was not available for you, that's not the problem. It's not your fault. The network problem is there. It's not your fault. So when they somewhere or the other say that, ma'am, we don't have resources, so that's not in your hands. If network is not there, that's not in your hands. So that way I try to be understanding. And that's what the children should also understand, that yes, the current situation, it demands online teaching. The current situation has created, has actually forced us to come to this online virtual platform, so that learning and education won't stop and it won't hamper them. But it's not something which has become, it shouldn't be so rigid for them, and they shouldn't think school scenario. We used to do a lot more than this. They used to attend 8 periods in the school when they used to come to school. They used to attend a lecture of 40 to 45 minutes. So if our children can do that much, then attending a class of half an hour or 1 hour is not a big deal. Okay, it's the same teacher. The teacher is not physically present near you, or you are not physically present near the teacher, but the teacher is there in front of the screen. She can see you, you can see her. So we are there for each other. I am there to understand your problems the same way I was there in the school. Okay, you are free to call me and text me whenever you feel like, whenever you feel that you are unable to, kind of cope up with the pace while I am teaching in the class. If you are unable to do that, no problem. I have completed this week. You can complete it by Sunday. So that is how I try to motivate children, that it's not a hard and fast task. It's okay, fine, everyone's not the same, can do it. So these small words, these small gestures, I feel that they make children free. They helps me to understand them, and it also helps them to understand the perspective of a teacher. Because if a teacher is scolding you, if a teacher is telling you, pushing you to study, it's for your good. Because at the end, you are the one who has to attend the exam. So if you won't be focusing now, for the 1 month you did not study, but at the end of the day, when your exams, only 15 days are left for your exam, the students are the ones who will be pent up with so many works. So that is what I try to explain them, that if you complete your task systematically, even though it's late, but it's not that late that you couldn't complete it. So I tell them, don't pent up works for the before it becomes very late, you just complete it, so that you are not pent up with many things to do at a time. So if you are pent up with those things, it will create anxiety, it will create irritation, you won't like things, and you won't be able to cope up with all the subjects. So that's what I personally as a teacher do, both in my online classes as well as when I'm available to them offline whenever they need me. So I try making myself free. Even though I'm not free, then I tell them that, can I catch you later? Like, can we catch up in the evening or somewhere? So I try to make myself available for them, because the most important thing is that they are not as mature as we elders are. Okay, the same on the part of the parents. So if your child, I would like to give a message to all the parents, that if your child is not that much motivated or interested in online studies, you shouldn't pressurize them. There might be a reason. So as good parents, what your responsibility is to know about the underlying cause, that why your child is not interested in the online class. What is the problem? Is it the network issue? Or is it that the child is unable to understand the subject that the teacher is teaching? Or is it that the concept is not clear? That's why the child is not serious about it. Or is it that the child has already learned it? There can be many reasons. So a wise step that a parent can take is have one-to-one conversation with your child, try to understand them rather than enforcing things on them, because like this, they will never be open to the parents. They will never speak out what they feel, and that's not at all good. Every child should be at least free. Everyone can be free with their friends because they are of the same age group, but being free to your parents, it's the most important, because once you're free with your parents, I believe that you cannot be misguided. They are always there to guide you, always in the right path. So students, whenever you feel depressed, I would suggest you that before trying to approach to your friends, you approach to your elders, your family members, the ones who are available for you. The secondary is your teachers. All your teachers are available for you. Whomever you are very close to, you can approach them. And they are mature enough to understand you and to guide you in the right path. Okay, your friends might be the same age as of yours. They will very definitely understand you, but the guidance that you can get from your parents and from the elders and from your teachers, I think that the same guidance you cannot get from your friends because the age group is the same. So the first thing that you need to do from today is try to become free to your family members, to your parents especially, and then you'll see that things are really very much sorted out for you. So that's what I feel, Monalisa ma'am. I hope that I could justify the question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing such valuable insights. And two words which I could, if I wanted to summarize perspective on the same is being able to assure your own self and others around you, and also, to be available for every, even if it's your family member or your friend, being available, like telling them that you are there for them, that itself is gives a lot of support. So thank you so much, Jaspreet ma'am, for sharing. And Nandita, I would like you to give some professional tips to our parents or students or teachers, whoever they are going to watch this video, like how do they take care of themselves whenever they are feeling low or stressed with work or studies?
The most important thing here is firstly to identify and understand that all of us are going to feel this way at some point. We are going to feel stressed and low, no matter how much we love our work and how great our life is going. We are still going to feel a little low from time to time. So the most important thing to remember is that it is normal and it is going to pass. And the best way to help yourself in that time, to allow yourself, give yourself that space to feel a little low. Okay, so right now, having a mental check-in at that point really helps. So maybe I have a day planned for myself. And when I planned my day, I assumed that I'd be having a lot of energy. But I wake up and things don't go the way I want, and I'm feeling less motivated by the minute. So then I am not at the same energy level. So if I thought that, okay, I can do all these things, I can do 5 things, when I'm at the energy level of a 10, I am currently at the energy level of, say, a 5. Now, either I have to let go of a few things on my list that I wanted to do because I am not at a 10, or I have to get myself from a 5 to a 10 if I don't want to compromise on any of the things on my list. So one of the two has to be done. I also have to be okay with letting go of some of those things, or I have to be okay with doing it at an average level and not at the best level. And the best way for me to help myself at that time is to ask for help from someone else. Maybe if I had someone else to help me, I can do all these things. Or B, to say that I need some help right now for myself. So I'm going to do something that I feel like doing. Maybe instead of doing whatever I had planned, I'm going to take a nap. Or maybe I'm going to talk to a friend and clear my mind. Or talk to maybe a parent or somebody else who can help me. And that will give me a little more clarity before I do something else. And if I don't have that kind of time, I still have to do the thing that I have, all the things that I've planned, then I give myself a reward because I need a reward. I need something to keep me going. So even if it is something I'm supposed to do, even if it was already my job, it's fine. I can still reward myself. Someone else does not need to reward me, but I need to reward myself. And that can be a really simple reward, like having my favorite snack at the end of that task, or making myself a really my favorite dish, or watching a movie, whatever it is that helps me, that I feel like doing. So I think that helps us to also understand that we all have our own limits. We all need that kind of space and time for ourselves, no matter what our age and what our responsibilities and whatever it may be. We all need that space, and that way we can also help others with their mental health. If we can help ourselves, we can also help others, and vice versa. Yeah.
Thank you, Nandita, for giving such simple and like beautiful steps to take care of ourselves, of our mental health, and also simultaneously when we are taking care of ourselves, we are also in a way taking care of others around us. We are available in a much more better, mental space for them. So that's very important. And we would like to conclude this panel discussion with one last question. And that one last question will be answered by everyone. Let's try to keep it short as much as possible. And I'll ask Abhishek to put forward the question, and we can take all the students can answer, and then Jaspreet ma'am can answer, and then Nandita and I can answer in the last. So Abhishek,
Yes, ma'am.
can you please
Yes,
ask the question? Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, as we have all discussed about this, how can we personally take care of ourselves and our friends? We have discussed about it, and we have discussed about it in really nice way that audience, whoever are listening to this podcast till this time, they will have a fair idea. But this question I am putting forward is that how as a community can we create a safe place so that people don't, in the very first place, they don't hesitate to talk about these things. How as a community can we contribute towards creating a safe space for everyone? At first, let us start with the students. Satvik, what's your view on this?
Um, okay, so I won't say much about it. All I can say is that we can just lend an ear or something. But even if we can't do that, we shouldn't joke about it and make it a sarcastic comment like, "Oh, you are depressed. That's so funny," or something like that. Because that's a mockery, and it kind of turns the person down, and it can, like, make the chances greater. If they were already not thinking about suicide, they might start thinking about it, and they might start thinking about harming themselves, which is obviously which is bad. So all I can say is that as a community, we can just be open-minded, and we should try to remove the taboo about talking about mental health, which because to me, I have seen a lot of people who don't even think that suicide or depression is something real. They think it's some fantasy which isn't true. And if someone goes through depression, they're either weak or they are trying to seek attention. That's what mostly people think about depression and suicide. So we have to eradicate that mentality, and we can just be there for each other, indirectly or directly.
Now, Manya, would you like to add something to it and share your views on this?
I personally believe that awareness is something that it's very important for us, because we need to spread awareness that mental health is a real issue. We need to accept and understand that it's it's very real. It's almost real as a physical illness, and it should be taken care of. It should be concerning, and people should understand that it's a real issue which can affect everyone. So I think awareness, acceptance, and understanding the situation. These are the only things which I feel can help. Thank you.
This is a really useful point that you have said, that we need to understand that this thing is real. People, those who think like I have seen people telling to other people that why are you depressed, man, there is so much happiness around us. So why are you having asthma, there is so much air around us as well. So in the same way, we shouldn't be like judgmental about these things, and we should give it equal we should give it the equal treatment and equal care as we give it to any other disease, especially in the Indian education thing, depression and stuffs. We are very fortunate that our parents can afford sending us to this kind of schools where we can discuss it freely. But yet I can like bet and say that in Rourkela over 50% of school are not having these kind of specialists to guide students and children out of these things. But this is a real thing, and people need to understand it. Now coming on to you, Preetu.
See, I was saying that when the people who are suicidal, who commit suicide, it's often, as you all have already discussed, people call them weak, these taboos, but they are not really weak. They are just very tired of being strong, as it is said. So we need to, as a community, we should try understanding each other. And as Manyadi already said, mental health is real. It's very real, and awareness is very important. And when we, as friends or family, since we are not professionals, first of all, professional therapy is very much needed. And after accept that, we need to accept each other the way we are, and try understanding each other more, and make them believe and make them have faith in make them have faith, because they mostly they lose hope, and they feel very lost. So it's just our part as a friend or a family member to make them believe that we are with them and they are not alone. And professional therapy should be very much needed, should be very much even understood and promoted. Yeah.
Thank you, Preetu. Now coming on to you, Jaspreet ma'am. Thank you, Preetu. Now, ma'am, Jaspreet ma'am, please, if you.
Yeah, Abhishek, thank you so much. So, first of all, what I believe is awareness and education is the first step that we need when it comes to mental health. As you people yourself address that many people, they think about only physical diseases and any other disorder, but they don't take mental health issues seriously. So the first thing that we as individuals need to understand is mental health is something that really exists, and there is something which is known as depression. There is something which is known as suicide, and it's a real fact. Okay, people who actually experience it are the ones who are the best who can explain that what depression is or what they have gone through. So people, apart from thinking it as a taboo or apart from commenting on it, should actually take these topics seriously. And what as and as we all as individuals and a community, we can first of all spread awareness and campaigns and many organizations. We can come together so that people are educated in that direction. And once that seed is implanted, that thought is there in everyone, so everyone will take upon that seriously. After that, we need to see the society in which we stay in. Okay, there are goods and there are bads. We have learned many things from the process of socialization. So it depends upon us as individuals that what we pick up, what positive things and negative things do we pick up, what energy is actually impacting us as an individual. So when we tend to pick up something negative, that awareness and that knowledge and education that we have, it will help us not to go into that direction. So that is very much necessary, that we have to be self-conscious. We need to know that what's going on all around us. We need to be, responsible for our own health, and we need to take mental health as a serious issue, not something to, just simply mock off, or not something seriously to comment on, but it's something that we need to practically work upon if we want that such incidences should never happen again in future. So that's what I feel. So Abhishek, I hand it over back to you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Now, ma'am, Nandita, ma'am, please.
Yes. So I believe that when we are talking about a supportive space in the community, we need to lead by example, and that means we need to create these spaces where we can have these conversations. So when we talk about awareness and we talk about education and mental health, we need to create that space in a group. So that can be with your peers, that can be with a counselor, that can be. The idea is that it is a group setting where everyone comes to share and talk about mental health the same way that they would about, say, academics or their hopes and dreams for life or their holiday plans.
Yes.
Someday, the goal is that people can easily talk about this without thinking twice about something, just like saying, I went to gym. For people to be able to say, I went for therapy. So ideally, we would like that, but to get to that space, we can start small by creating, say, a sharing circle wherein a like-minded set of people get together and do some artwork, do some journaling, or some kind of have a facilitator who can help them in this. But the idea is to connect with each other and to have these conversations about our feelings, our mental health, and what we want in the same way that we would about anything else. Say maybe the way that everyone is easily able to talk about the news and things that affect them in the news, for us to be able to talk about how we are feeling and to make it more personal and to share those emotions. That is how I think we can help break the stigma around mental health.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your wise words. And now coming on to finally coming on to Monalisa, ma'am.
Thank you everyone for sharing such valuable insights regarding how to create a safe space as a community. My perspective would be to start with listening. And when we are listening, uh, we need to be neutral. We need to stop having opinions about what the person is sharing. Rather be neutral and simply listen. And when you start listening, slowly start to put yourselves in the shoes of the person who is sharing some issues with you. You will slowly get to understand, okay, where the person is coming from. This is how you can develop listening skills as well as empathy, which is not only important for mental health professionals but also for every human being. We need to have these two skills, to listen and to be empathetic towards someone who is coming to share something. That is what we can do as an individual and as a part of community to create that safe space. um, if we like we already know that our words have a lot of power, I would say. It has the greatest power. Words can create or it can destroy. So it is very important that we also choose what kind of words and statements and phrases we are using while we are sharing anything about our opinion, perspective. Also, when someone is sharing something and we have an opinion of our own, so it's important that we pay attention to the words that we are using to express those opinions.
Yes,
That will again help us in creating a safe space and safe environment, so that we can live a better life, a quality life. And one more thing which I would like to say, keeping in mind that today is International Suicide Prevention Day, is that life is a gift given to us. And when we get gifts, we really treasure it, right? We keep it, and we even sometimes put lock and key on it. We don't want other people around it. That is ours alone. And we want to treasure it till the till we are there.
yes,
So that is how, when we are taking care of material things in such manner, just imagine that this life which is so unique, like it's only once that you get this life, and you can create anything out of your life. So that power is in your hands. Situations, circumstances, all these things will always be there around you. Sometimes it will be the happiest situation or circumstance which will make you feel that you are on the top of the world. But there will be times then that these situations and circumstances will make you feel that what exactly is happening, and what is life. We question, sometimes we question about life. So this is life, both the sides of life, okay? And it will go on like this. This is how life is. It has both bad, neutral, positive. Everything is there in life. So it's a gift and we need to cherish it. And whenever there are difficult situations, please remember it's a moment. It's momentary. It's not a permanent state of life. It will pass. We need to give ourselves that hope that this will pass. And people are there for me who will help me to go through it in this difficult situation. So that hope needs to be inculcated within us, so that we can have a positive mental space. And even though there are difficulties in life, we can go through it and not give up. That is what is very important. And I'm not speaking this out of any textbook or anything. It's how I have lived my life. Like as a kid, as a teenager, I was a very pessimistic kind of kid. And I only used to see what is not good in life. Okay, that's how I was as a kid. And a lot of circumstances were there which made me go think in that direction, go in that direction. But when I met people around me who have are survivors of so many things, difficult things that they've gone through, it made me really think that okay, even if life is like this right now, do I not have the power to make it the way I want it to? That's the question which came to my mind when I was in standard 10, basically. When I had reached my version of rock bottom, I would say. And my inspiration was one individual. I call him my mentor today. He was a cancer survivor, last stage cancer survivor. Okay. And he got cancer when he was in standard 10. So imagine the trauma and the kind of pain he must have gone through. And he never gave up. His will to live was so high that today he is a married man and has is going to have a kid. And he is an inspiration for many youth like us who have reached where we are because of the inspiration that he gave. So that is why I constantly motivate everyone to think that life sometimes is difficult, but it's not the end. And we have all the power to create whatever we want out of our life. So that power is in our hands. Please don't give that power to any circumstance, any situation, or any person. That's the only way to prevent suicide, actually. And that's the only way of creating a safe space as a community as well. So with this, I would like to thank all of you for taking out time. And I know the conversation went really long. And thank you for being patient and sharing your valuable insights on the same. And with this, we would like to conclude this discussion, and we really wish safety and good health to everyone of our viewers. And I would like to ask Abhishek to say a word of thanks, and then we will conclude the session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you to everyone that you took out valuable time from your busy schedule to come here. And I would also like to thank you, especially Monalisa ma'am, to arrange this thing, and obviously St. Arnold School, which made all of us liable today to speak on this, especially the student, to speak on this topic so maturely. And also thank you to Nandita ma'am, all the way from Bombay. She is with us live, and thank you for that, for coming on this very special day, and that too under such a short notice. And with this, ma'am, I would like to conclude it, and I would like to wish everyone a good evening, and then signing off.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.